This is where I've been living for the last 2 weeks. That's my bed right there, that recliner, which I have to say is very comfortable. However, you feel like you've been sleeping in a cardboard box all folded up by the end of the night, but I'm very thankful. We have 3 recliners. This is actually my new recliner. Just bought this in fall. It's a rocker recliner, and I really haven't gotten used to this chair, but I'm before now. I didn't really like it. I like my old one better, but I'm really becoming very attached to this chair. So yes, I'm camped out here in the dining room for several reasons. One is I can't sleep in a bed. The second reason is we moved this recliner in here from the living room just so that I could be close to the windows. I've got my plants surrounding me. I can see the piano, all these important things when you're not yourself. And it's been very comfortable. I can get up out of the recliner by myself. It's one of those that you just push on your feet and it'll pop up. So that's a help if I have to get up in the night. The only thing is, and I never noticed this before, but all recliners, the levers to recline them are all on the right side, which does me no good. My right side is useless. So why don't they make them with a lever on each side? What if you can't use your right side? Then you can't recline. So Gary has to recline me. I can get up, but then I can't get back down again. So I'm going to tell you and show you what I've been up to in my new bedroom in the last 2 weeks. Just the only things that are keeping me sane right now when I can't use my hand to do the things that I love to do. So I'm going to go sit in that chair and we're going to have a little chat. Of course, Chip would have to take this time now to make a bunch of noise. Anyway, here we are in my little hideaway. And before we do anything, I want to just talk about this. This is the reading shawl. And I can't remember the name of the lady who made it, but look it up on the internet. Just type in reading shawl and it'll come up. I made this last year, and I have to say, of all the things that I've ever made that are a garment based, this is the best thing that I've ever made. I wear this all the time. And I have it on my other rocking chair. And in the evening when I'm watching TV or whatever I'm doing, I wrap up in this. And it has been the most worn piece of crochet that I have ever used. So much so that when I broke my shoulder, for some reason, it was quite a warm day when I fell, and I had, I don't think I had the shawl on. I think I had a jacket on, but when they were taking me to the hospital, I grabbed this shawl, and when I got to the hospital, they had to cut my clothes off of me. They managed to get the jacket off somehow, but they cut the clothes, my shirt and everything off. And I was left in a hospital gown and I was freezing cold. And so this went around me. And I had to be transported another 20 minutes to a major hospital to have a CT scan. So this was all I had. I had a hospital gown and this on me. This went with me through everything. Through the CT scan, well, I had to take it off for the scan, but I wore this, and then all the time in the hospital, I had this around my shoulders because it was cold. You know how hospitals are always cold. And the days after I came home, I couldn't put, of course, I couldn't put my arm in a sleeve or anything like that. This is what I wore. And so this has been my go-to for such a long time. And even before my accident, if I laid on the couch, this is such a big piece that you can lay it long ways as a blanket. It really works. So I am so happy that I found that pattern, and I am so happy that I made this pattern. I want to make another one in some thinner yarn for summer because it's going to be perfect for sitting outside in the evening, you know, with just a wrap around if it happens to be a cool evening, or I think it's going to be a nice thing to have, a little thinner one. This is made out of, I think this is worsted, but yeah, this is the best thing I have ever made. I love it. So if you like wrapping up, you make yourself one of these because you won't regret it. They are, and I know a lot of people have made these and have made more than one because they just love them so much. So that's the reading shawl. So let's talk about reading. That's what I've been doing an awful lot of, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that I am reading because I think some of these might be of interest to you, although I'm not quite sure if you will find them because they are older books. So I have told you before, we have a place downtown, and our downtown is very, very small, where people bring stuff, drop them off, and you go in there and there's no attendance or anything. There is a lady who keeps everything organized and clean and stuff like that, but there's no till, there's nothing like that. You go in there and you look around, and if you see something you like, you take it home. And so it is full of every kind of thing that you can imagine. And there's no money exchange. It's just a recycle. You don't want it, you take it, but you do it with honesty. You're not going to take something there that's broken or not working. And everybody in this community is of like mine, where they've passed things on to people who might need them instead of throwing them in the dump or putting them on the garage sale. So it's very good. And I always gravitate to the book section when I go in there because there often is some very good books. And I'm just going to show you some of the book. Well, I've got a couple books here that I got there. This one here is one that I picked up probably 4 years ago. It's called Herbal Treasures, and it's by Phyllis V. Shawls, author of The Pleasure of Herbs. It is if you are into herbs, try and find this book because it is everything that you need to know about herbs. What herbs are used for what different things, how to plant them, when to plant them, how to harvest. There's recipes in here. There's patterns for things you can make with herbs. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. And it's set out in months. So it doesn't really apply to my climate, but it doesn't matter because you can start herbs indoors. So it has January through December, the different herbs that grow, what they're used for. It's a month by month project for gardening, cooking, and crafting with herbs. It's a wonderful book. But what I'm reading right now will be of interest to a lot of you who are following K3N and Marion's World and doing a lot of stitching and fabric dyeing, because the section that I am reading right now is from March, and it's called Planting a Dyer's Garden. And it is all about the different plants that give you the different colors of dye, how to plant these plants, how to care for them, when to harvest the things. And then it has a whole, I don't know if I can lift this up and show you. I'm going to try. But it's got absolutely every plant and dyeing and the characteristics that you could imagine here. I'm just going to take my little beautiful and try and show you. I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to try. Look at this. This is just some of the plants. There's pages and pages and pages of plants for dyeing, such as, don't have my glasses on, bay, bedstraw, bloodroot, brown-eyed Susan, catnip, clematis, coreopsis, golden Margaret dyers, chamomile, goldenrod, Indian paintbrush, lily of the valley. And it tells, like for instance, lily of the valley, it says leaves with alum for green. It's got alum in it. And it's parsley, marigold, pearly everlasting, Queen Anne's lace, red clover, rhubarb, leaves with tin for yellows and golds. It tells you what you can mix with it to get the colors, and then it tells you different characteristics. Rue, Scotch broom, tansy, wild oregano, woad, zinnia, flowers with chrome for gold to pink, related to flower color. And there's pages and pages of these. And then it talks about how to grow the plants, and then it talks about the dyeing process. So it talks about wool, like dyeing wool, and mordants, and then more about the dyeing plants, wild dyes, how to plant this, kitchen dyes, you know, berries and things like that. So I'm just starting this chapter just to because I was very interested in doing that this year, and I still hope that I will be able to do this year. But how wonderful to have that section in here. And there's so much in here, really. It's amazing. I've only gotten as far as March. I've had this book for such a long time, and I've really not gone into it. But yeah, it's a really good book. So that's one of the things that I've been doing and enjoying so much. Oh, so sorry. Another book that I got at the recycle is called Sleeping with a Sunflower. And it is by Louise Riot. And it's a treasury of old-time gardening lore. And it is so interesting. A lot of it is planting. And also this one goes from January to December. It's a monthly type of book, which is really wonderful. Again, she's from Oklahoma, so the weather part is different than here, but she also talks about weather in different places. So you can kind of judge, you know, how much of this would apply to your own climate. But it's all about different things that how they used to garden years ago. And actually a lot of this is very familiar to me because my dad was a gardener who very much believed in the astrology part of gardening, you know, with the moons and you know, the different signs of the zodiac and stuff. He very much did that. And so that's the section that I'm reading right now, is the guide to planting with astrology. So there's a lot to that because astrology is very much attached to the moons. So we know that the moons affect our water and everything like that. So it's not a bunch of hooey. Anyway, it tells you the different things to plant in the different months and how to harvest. There's recipes in here. There's crafts in here. It's very much like that other book, except that it is more old-fashioned ways of doing things. And it's really good book. So there's another one. I got this free down at the recycle place. And then of course, you can't have those two books and not have this one. I get this Old Farmer's Almanac every year. I enjoy it so much. There is so much valuable information, but there's also a lot of great stories, and I love the little there's a lot of little tidbits and little sayings and stuff. It's just a great book. I always get one and I go through it page by page, and I actually follow a lot of the astrology based gardening tips in here as well, because my dad believed in this. So those are the 3 gardening things that I've been reading. But I also splurged, and I have wanted this book for a long time. And I know if you've been following some stitchers, you've seen this book before, called The Pocket. And it is a hidden history of women's lives, and it's historical book about pockets and how much benefit these pockets were in the old days, when before women had pockets in their clothing. And it's a great book. It's really good. But the trouble with this book is I started it when I was still heavily using morphine. And I just, it's not something, it's not, it's very detailed. And so I would fall asleep, you know. So I've gone back and I've started it again. And it's beautiful book. There's a lot of stories in here about real women back in the 1800s, the 1600s, how they lived their life, what they did, and what they did was all contained in their pockets. It showed a totally different way of life. And there's lots of beautiful illustrations in here of some of these pockets, useful pockets. Some of them are so ornate in their construction and in their stitching. I mean, it's just a beautiful book. So I'm really enjoying this. I started it over. Now that my head's clear, I'm not on stuff anymore, and I'm really enjoying this. And I'm taking my time because I want to make a hyssop, or what do they call it? I think they're called hyssops. They're on this order of having storage of pockets within pockets to store your stitching stuff. For my benefit, I'm going to use it for stitching. And yeah, so this has been really a nice read for me as well. And if you are interested in these things, I got this off of Amazon, and it was actually not bad priced at all. Comparatively, I've seen it on other places, and it was much more. So yeah, I got this. And then I have a big bookcase in our family room of my favorite authors and authoresses, and I've been reading some of my favorite books. So here's one, The Shell Seekers by Rosamund Pinch. I love her writing, and I've got all of her books. And I've read this before, but I haven't read it in a few years, so I'm going to read this one. And my other favorite authors is Labrelle Spencer, and I've got every one of her books. I think there's like 20 some books of hers. I've got every one, and I've read 3 already, and I'm on this one. So reading has been kind of keeping me sane. When I read, I kind of just go somewhere else, and that's sort of what I've needed to do for the last couple of weeks. But I freed my arm up. This is my right hand, and I'm squeezing my ball, but I'm actually trying to use it a little bit. I have been using it to open things, hold something and twist with my other hand. And I've been trying to kind of use it. And today I noticed that when I went to open something, I reached with this hand before this one. So that told me that my brain is starting to work a little bit better with my hand, or my hand's working with my brain. I don't know. But I'm encouraged about that, because I can, like, I was winding this ball. This is my little squeezy ball that I'm using. It's just a ball of yarn, but I hand wound this a long time ago, and it keeps coming apart. So what I've been doing is using my hand, see, to wind it up again. When it comes off, I wind it up, and I've even been tucking it in using this hand. And I'm feeling that some of that feeling that I had been missing is starting to come back. So I'm taking this as a really good sign. So I think I've kept you long enough. I just want to say And once again, thank you so much for all your comments. I can't tell you how uplifting that is to read support from people that you've never met, but beautiful people like you who still watch me, even though I'm sure this is quite boring, and who take the time to say something really kind to me. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to try and I've got one more video that I made or started on a project that I had started, which is sitting upstairs on my stitching table. It was supposed to be a birthday present for my son. His birthday is May 18th. I don't know. I guess I'm not going to get it done. You know me. I'm going to try, but I don't think I'm going to get it done because I don't think I might be able to stitch. I was thinking about this morning. If I was going to do some stitching with this hand, I probably could put the needle in the in the in the fabric, but then pull it through. You know, I could just use it this way, and I might try it. You know, it's going to take a long time to do a little row of stitches, but if it was just a very plain stitch, I might be able to do it. We'll see. So thank you very much for coming along. Welcome to new subscribers. I'm amazed that there are still people coming on board, but I'm so happy to see that. And I will see you again really soon. Thank you for joining me today in my little bedroom, and I will see you again real soon. Bye for now. Take care, everyone. I forgot to tell you something. Talking about that little recycle place downtown, just before I broke my arm, I think it actually was the day before, my shoulder, the day before, I was in that recycle place, and what I was looking for, and this was actually on my mind when I actually had my fall, but my cousin sent me a picture of a garden decoration. And all it is it's two planks that you put together, and then you dress it like a woman, and you put the one plank so that the arm is up, one arm is up and one is down, and on the arm that's up she's holding, I don't know what she's holding on that one, but in the one that I was going to create, I was going to put a basket in her arm with some, either a water can in her hand with some fairy lights coming out, or a basket. But I needed some clothes to dress this thing, and she's dressed like a kind of boho looking thing. She's got a big hat on and a frilly skirt and a jean jacket and stuff. And there's a lot of clothes in that recycle place. So I thought I'm going to go down there and see if I can find some clothes for my figure. So I was in there, and I was in the back going through the clothes rack, and I actually did find a skirt. And did I find a top? I don't think I did. I actually found a top for myself though. But anyway, I'm in the back, and I am not paying attention to what's going on at the front of the store. And Gary was in there. He was looking at books, and he said, "Oh, what is this?" And everybody started to kind of laugh, but they had a little bit of a panic in their voice. So I walk at the front, and in walks a wild turkey. It was hilarious. He or she, I don't know what, I think it was a she, just walked right in, and she walked over to the clothes rack, and she was looking up, you know, like she was doing some shopping. It was hilarious. It really was. She was not at all afraid of the humans. There was 4 people in there, including myself. And she walked around just as calm as can be, like that was her store. And then she walked out, and she walked down the steps, and she walked onto the sidewalk and onto the road, and then she just laid down on the road, and it was just, you know, and the cars were going by her. She just laid there. So I did get some, I didn't get any video, but I did get some pictures. So I'm going to put them here of the turkey who went shopping. So we'll end this video with our funny little pictures of the actually very beautiful little wild turkey. Here you go. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.